What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Thank you for kicking off your week, your Monday with us. Let's take a look at how we did on the recap screen before we bring in the stars of the show. A very busy recap screen as I scan over it. We go 8-6-1. We pull my top Asian play, Rico Hoey, into the mix. That was a play I made on Tuesday. That was plus 180, 8-6-1. We're certainly going to win you money there. I got to give Mikey B a shout out. And Buckets. Buckets goes 2 for 3. Mackenzie Brooks, it's hers. Mikey B not only goes 2 for 2, but both parlays he gave out Friday, which I know a number of you took, both of them hit. Mikey B is on an absolute tear with pretty much everything. And I do want to mention the early wedge, which of course is tonight at 7 o'clock, among other nights as well. Well, we hit Justin Thomas. We had Mike McClure on that. I was on that at 20-1. Of course, all of us on it at 20-1. EC was on it at 21. Rick Gaiman from the early wedge was also on it. So we had a nice weekend. Speaking of Mike McClure, let's bring in the stars of the show. We got Mike. We got PropStarz. We got the Sniper. I don't know where to start. So actually, Mike, I'm going to start with you. Any reaction to the NBA over the weekend? PropStarz, you're getting this question next. I'm just curious, did anything surprise you? We saw the Lakers go down. Golden State took care of business last night behind playoff Jimmy and Steph Curry. We had the Clippers lose a close one. They're back at it tonight. We have a pick in that game. Your reaction to the weekend?
I think the big reaction has to be the fact the Lakers losing so as big as they did on their home floor. Every other game yesterday, for example, every team covered the double-digit spread, every game by double digits. That wasn't surprising to me considering those matchups in that home court situation there. That Clippers-Nuggets game, just a huge win for the Nuggets if you're backing them. Just to come, any team, whoever comes out victorious in that game has such an edge going forward in that series.
Yeah, PropStarz, your reaction to the first handful of games in round one?
Yeah, I'm actually not surprised Minnesota prevailed against the Lakers. They have a guy, arguably the best player in the series, Anthony Edwards, who's playing just phenomenal basketball. Also, from a matchup standpoint, their front court depth really difficult for the Lakers to deal with. We saw a guy like Naz Reid have an exceptional game, was a big X factor there. Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert. Then when you're looking at the Lakers front court, it's Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura. So yeah, it's a big advantage for Minnesota. I expected this series to go 6 or 7 games. One of my favorite futures bet was this series over 5.5 games. I thought that was a near lock. So certainly looks pretty good as far as game one is concerned. I was really impressed with Oklahoma City yesterday. Just put on an absolute clinic offensively, defensively. If anyone was wondering if their success would carry over to the postseason, it certainly has. They look every bit as scary as they did in the regular season. So look out, Western Conference, or really the whole NBA. Oklahoma City is terrifying.
Yeah, and they're here to stay, obviously, with the nucleus, young nucleus that they've got. That is going to be a scary team for probably the next 10 years. Sniper, do you have a dog in the fight when it comes to the NBA?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heads are right there.
Big dog. I was going to make sure you
Pacers.
went back to him for this because that was an
Yeah,
impressive
I just want to say
win.
that was a really fun game. Obviously, Lillard wasn't playing, but to Dame Lillard, if you're going to run out on the court and try to pick a fight with Tyrese Halliburton, at least you should be playing in the game. I don't think if you're dressed in street clothes, it's proper to pick a fight with somebody who's playing. So whatever. That's my trash talk for the day.
Do we have a take on who wins that series?
Do I?
Yeah, sure.
Well, of course, I think the Pacers are going to.
Mike?
I think the Pacers are going to win it. If Milwaukee was going to win the series, I personally think they needed to steal game one on the road. I think it's an uphill battle for him from here out.
PropStarz.
Rare situation where the best player being Giannis in the series, just no depth for Milwaukee. They just don't have the defense either. The Pacers are a very well-constructed team. They have depth. They have a great starting five. They get production off the bench. Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best playmakers in the NBA. Pascal Siakam has been really impressive this season as well. So I think the Pacers are a legit dark horse in the Eastern Conference.
All right. Well, speaking of dark horses, PropStarz, we've done a lot of shows together, particularly on CBS Sports Network, and I know that you believe the Denver Nuggets are a dark horse in the West. I personally think the Clippers are going to win that series, but my opinion on NBA matters is not as important as yours. I don't know if you want to have a take on the series, but I know you have a take on Jamal Murray tonight.
I mean, coming into the playoffs, the fact that the Nuggets were plus 2,500 to win the conference, to me, just appeared to be valued. But yeah, I love Jamal Murray in this spot coming off of the big Game 1 performance. He played 44 minutes, I believe, in the overtime game. Ended up with 21 points, had 38 total PRA. I like him to go over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists tonight. I'm frankly shocked this number didn't open at 31.5 or 32.5. All things considered, Jamal Murray dealt with a bunch of various nagging injuries throughout the season, but the fact that he played basically the entire game, the entire second half, and played as well as he did on both ends of the court, I was incredibly encouraged. He's going to continue to get these big workloads out of pure necessity. The Nuggets really don't have a good bench, and he's going to need to be that second best player and that second scoring option for Denver. So he can go over 28.5 PRA and just points alone. So big discount on this line, considering the usage, considering the playing time. All of these are spiking up in the postseason. And then something with Jamal Murray, if you've been watching this guy throughout his entire career, he elevates his play in the postseason. That's something he's done every single year he's entered the playoffs. He's always been just a very good high output player, and he's a great clutch scorer in the playoffs. So I think this very well could be the last time in this postseason that we see his PRA line under 30. So I would hop on this now. I think he'll cruise over this tonight in what projects to be a competitive game. And I think this will be the last time we see this line under 30 for the rest of the postseason.
Speaking of a competitive game, PropStarz unofficially, do you have a take on, I mean, it's just like the spread is so close. Do you have a take on who's going to win this one tonight?
I really don't. I don't. I mean, I would think the Clippers would respond after Game 1, but a lot broke right for them. Like, I don't think James Harden's going to be able to have as big of an impact as he had in Game 1, but maybe Kawhi will pick up some of that slack for them as well. So I think it's rightfully, a very tight game, slightest lean towards the Clippers.
Mike, I assume your model doesn't suggest a strong edge either way in this one.
Yeah, not a strong edge. I too liked the Clippers +3 in Game 1. I liked them a little bit in the series, but no real edge there. I do like PropStarz play though. I would say if you're in the spirit to ladder things up a bit, I don't mind Jamal at 25 plus points or 30. I believe you can catch the 30-point performance at 8.5 to 1, plus 850, wow, plus 900. I think he shoots the ball 20 times again.
Wow. Very, very interesting stuff. M2, speaking of you and your picks, John says the one weekend in the past 2 years, I didn't tail M² on Justin Thomas. That's okay, John, because EC had that pick as well, and I had that pick as well. And I'm sure you watched the early wedge because we put it out on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that we had Justin Thomas. So good news, John. You probably already got the pick anyway, in spite of not following M². Check out the early wedge. Jen M does, because I know she had Justin Thomas. She says, Sniper, how do you feel about Lodolo over 5.5 Ks at +118? Well, what a nice segue we've got here, because we got Patriot Day and then we've got a Lodolo pick, right, Matt?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we'll start with Patriots Day because we're going to have to hustle on this one to get this play in. I'm going to go Red Sox on the run line here. That game starts at 11:10. Remember, it's the Boston Marathon in the morning, and then all the fans heading to Fenway Park right after that, and they're already all riled up. My CBS colleague, Will Middlebrooks, who was on the 2013 World Series Championship Red Sox, I've asked him about that, and he had talked about how that game means so much more than any other regular season game to the Red Sox. So I expect them to come out and get the win against a terrible White Sox team here. We're going to take the run line to get the odds a little bit nicer here. Walker Buehler has been much better in his last 2 starts. Jonathan Cannon of the White Sox on the mound, a career 5.69 road ERA. The Red Sox are the much better team. Again, a little extra juice here on Patriots Day. This one should be an easy hit, much like our run line play on the Phillies on Friday, which we got a big lead early and they just sustained that. So again, run with that one because we're just under an hour until the first pitch in that game. Also, as Jen's question asked, the nickel dolo on the strikeouts. You can, if you shop around, you can either get 4.5 strikeouts at pretty decent juice. I believe it was minus 160 on DraftKings, or you can go to 5.5 strikeouts at plus money. I went over 4.5 just because I'm very certain that he gets to 5 strikeouts today. But if you like the plus money at 5.5, I could totally see him getting to 6. He got off to a slow start in terms of the strikeouts, but he struck out 6 and 4 2/3 innings last game against the Mariners at home. He is a much better pitcher on the road. Obviously, the Reds playing Great American Ballpark at home. Going to the road is a better situation for any pitcher. 3 starts in his career against the Marlins, 2.16 ERA, 20 strikeouts and 16 2/3 innings. So good history here. The Marlins do strike out a lot. They struck out 7 times against lefty Jesus Luzardo on Sunday in Philadelphia. They struck out, I believe, 14 times against Zach Wheeler on Friday. So you can really get going against the Marlins with the whiffs there. So again, on Lodolo, I'm on the over 4.5 with juice, but you can get over 5.5 at plus money if you want to go in that direction and gamble a little bit with a lot of high upside.
What if I gambled a little bit with the strikeouts prop at 4.5 Ks and I moneyline parlayed that with the Red Sox money line, which of course would be a plus money.
Plus money on that. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love both of those plays. So yeah, I'd be down with that.
All right. We are down with that. By the way, Ben put a poll in the chat. Which team is more likely to come back and win their respective series between the Clippers and the Lakers? It looks like the Clippers won 55% to 44%. Probably 56 to 44. Mike, any thoughts on that? Who's more likely to come back and win their series, or is it just both, in your opinion?
I mean, I think they both have a decent chance at it. I would say the Lakers are still more likely to come back and win it. Just the game, there's in the market, at least, there's a bigger gap between those two teams than there is between Denver and the Clippers. And the fact that the Clippers did lose that game 1 the way they did. So yeah, I'll say Lakers over the Clippers there.
PropStarz, any opinion on these two teams and coming back? I mean, I know you kind of like the T-Wolves here.
I mean, I think it's going to be a competitive series in either. So yeah, if I had to choose one, probably be just the Lakers out of, I think we'll see a big response out of Luka, JJ Redick, and LeBron. So yeah, I think the Lakers definitely will make this a competitive series. I think it'll certainly go 7 games or 6 games at least.
All right. By the way, if you have a baseball question, we'll have some time after the next set of picks to maybe ask Sniper or Mike McClure on the MLB slate. And again, that Red Sox game starts at 11 o'clock, or is it 11:10?
11:10.
Yeah. Okay. Get a second chance in NBA bets at BetMGM. Check out this new promo. Players will receive their stake back in cash as a second chance refund on any pregame, straight, and NBA first field goal wager when the player they wager on does not score the game's first field goal, but scores the game's second field goal. Take advantage of this promo for every game during the NBA playoffs. This reminds me of the first touchdown score bets. And of course, we have the NFL draft coming up. And we've got an NFL draft show on CBS Sports Network tomorrow at noon that you're going to want to take a look at. SportsLine picks. Let's take a look at those real quick. We've got Zubac over 11.5 rebounds at minus 133 from Larry Hartstein. And then we've got the New York Mets money line, minus 112. I believe they play the Phillies. JLC's got that one. New York Mets money line. Nola on the mound. I believe McGill on the mound for the Mets. We've got a producer pick, folks. And our producer, Ben Wittenstein, has been red hot. He likes a team total. He's going Clippers team total over 109.5 at minus 102. A near even money play. Clippers team total over 109.5. All right, we got to get to some of your questions. We got to get to Mike McClure's pick. We're going to do it right after this message from our partners.
We dig it. Do you? The Pro Volleyball Federation on CBS Sports Network.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Mike, you're here today, and I'm sure people are thinking, what's the deal with the hats? I'm sure they're thinking, well, he's probably got a baseball play. If it's not a baseball play, it's probably an NBA play. If it's not an NBA play, it's probably a golf play. Maybe it's an NFL draft prop. Who knows? But it's probably not a hockey play, right?
Probably not a hockey play, Sia. We would never want to bet the first period under in the NHL playoffs to make us feel like we're betting college football first quarter unders. Look, I like the first period under here today with the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets. This game exploded in terms of scoring in game one of this series. 4 first period goals. However, both of these teams have been kind of dead under teams, particularly Winnipeg in this situation. Blindly betting Winnipeg under 63% this year on home ice. I like this one here. Again, if you've followed for several years, you know this is basically the only time I ever bet hockey, and it's traditionally just first period unders for several reasons. We know that hockey, a reason a lot of people like hockey, frankly, is they play hard essentially every night. Well, that is definitely true when it comes to postseason play, and nobody wants to surrender that first goal. When you surrender a goal in the playoffs, it feels like a large deficit. I also think that the officiating in terms of calling penalties, getting power plays, I think they let them play a little bit more early in first periods in these games. So for me, I'm going under 1.5 goals, just fading that second goal. Yes, it will be sweaty. Yes, you will be on the edge of your seat. It will make you think of college football first quarter unders. You will enjoy it. Go sweat this one out. But for me, it's just a situation where they exploded for 4 goals in game one. I love this particular spot. We're going to go under 1.5 goals in the first period. Now, to address the hat, I saw a comment that I was plus 500 to not have the hat on today. I wanted to make sure anyone that was bold enough to play the halftime, full-time argument was able to cash that ticket as well. So we threw the hat on. You got both sides of that cashed. Hopefully some of you were sharp enough to take that.
That is such an interesting line there. Good cash by the crew. Padres overs. Ed Anarumo and Liddy kind of talking about that. Sniper, any thoughts on that? We're looking at a team total over 3.5 at -140. Ed Anarumo says Braves over 4.5, but Padres did suffer an injury, correct? Where are we at with the Padres?
Yeah, Luis Ariz, he stayed over in Houston last night after a bad collision at first base, so he won't be in the lineup, but you still got Tatis, Machado, Xander Bogaerts is swinging it a little bit right now. Jake Cronenworth's off to a good start. I don't think that Jackson Merrill's back yet, but still Kyler Montero on the mound for the Tigers. And during our live show, we saw the Brewers knocking him around. So yeah, I would like that. I saw several other questions. Pete Alonso, 2 bases, good history against Eric Fetty. I could see that. Any Alex Bregman play I love today. Jaron Duran, stolen base. It's tough to go stolen bases, but you're always going to get a lot up there in the plus money. I think it said plus 195. So sure, why not? And Braves team total. Yeah, the Braves are starting to play a lot better, especially at home. They've had so many road games. They're pathetic on the road, but they're playing better at home. So yeah, I'd be on the Braves team total as well at home.
All right. We've got, did you mention Riley 2+ bases?
Oh, no, I didn't get to that, but yeah, that goes right along with the Braves playing better at home. Good spot against Eric Fetty there. So yeah, I'd be good with that too.
All right. And we also have Brandon Silva with Kings money line -120. That is okay. Oilers. Okay. So that's NHL. Mike, did you happen to look at the Kings Oilers matchup?
Not a ton. Again, when I get to postseason and NHL, it's almost exclusively betting on defense, and that's essentially unders in the opening period of the game, or full game unders. But yeah, not typically betting sides. I think there's little value. I think the markets are pretty efficient on the actual game winners in NHL playoffs.
All right. I think it might have been Ali Lonzak talking about a Draisaitl anytime goal score. There it is. Anytime goal at plus 125. Somebody threw the Caps. They're minus 190, minus 200. I'll actually be over there at the Capital One Arena today in studio recording some stuff. So that'll be a really, really fun atmosphere. Ovechkin obviously breaking the record. It was wild over there for the last 3 months or so. Tatis Jr. overs we're looking at. Sniper, is there a home run you're looking for today? And Mike McClure, have you run your model on maybe some home run value? Matt, I'm going to start with you.
Any of the Braves against Fetty. You know what? Matt Olson has been swinging the bat well recently. Braves at home. I could run with Olson.
All right. Matt Olson for a home run. Mike McClure, anything there?
I will say Detroit San Diego game. Let me pull up one thing here. Yeah, give me Give me either Machado or Bogarts for the Padres.
Machado or Bogarts. Okay, I love that. PropStarz, I don't know if you're looking at the chat. I don't know if there's NBA questions that you saw, but let me just ask you, because the Pistons-Knicks game didn't come up at all. The Knicks laying 6.5. Is there anything from that game that you looked at, whether it was prop side, total-wise?
I expected the Pistons to be a little more competitive. The Knicks really were impressive. I mean, Jalen Brunson was phenomenal in this game. He's a real X factor, capable of winning a series on his own, especially if he's getting contributions from other guys and 20-plus points from OG Anunoby. Karl Anthony Towns was very efficient as well. I think Detroit just lacks the scoring ability to keep up with Jalen Brunson when he's playing as well as he is, and you're getting other contributions. So while Detroit had a great regular season, it doesn't surprise me to see them struggling a little bit in the postseason. And yeah, Jalen Brunson is legit.
Yeah, I mean, Pistons had that game controlled, it looked like, for, I don't know, 3-ish quarters, and it looked like Brunson kind of sprained his ankle, and then all of a sudden the Knicks went on some crazy run. I mean, that's what happens at MSG sometimes. Before we get to the recap screen, I think this pick from Gipper's Picks is interesting, Mike, and I don't know if you look at this market, and frankly, I don't know if all books have this market, but speaking of first period unders, he says, no goal first 5 minutes, Dallas and Winnipeg. I'm actually kind of surprised, not knowing those teams super well, that that's actually anywhere close to even money at plus 104. Is that a market you've ever looked at, or do you know if it's offered at every book? And is it something you would look at?
So they will typically offer some of those. A lot of them will definitely go like 10-minute increments or more common. Okay. However, this is interesting here because this is a parlay. This is 2 games, right? So Dallas plays Colorado and Winnipeg plays St. Louis.
My bad.
This is not it's not plus 104 on that, which should make some intuitive sense if we think about where a first period is. But I don't dislike it, but not something I personally would want to get in the habit of. For me, when I play these, it's typically just fading that second goal in one particular game.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense that's even money. It's 2 separate games. Okay. I was going to say, like, where are we on that market? That looks pretty profitable. Is that Venom? PropStarz, we got Venom on camera. Love to see him, her. I can't remember. It's a she.
Boy.
It's a boy. Venom is a boy. All right. I think it's time to get to the recap screen, everybody. Let's see what our picks are for today. And by the way, I don't have a pick today. I'll come with a pick tomorrow. So just an FYI on that. But we do have plenty of picks here because we got our SportsLine picks too. But we start off at 11:10 in 40 minutes, basically. Red Sox run line minus 1.5 at minus 125, and Nick Lodolo over 4.5 Ks at minus 160. Again, we talked about how to maybe parlay these things if that's what you're interested in doing with the Red Sox money line and this Nick Lodolo over. Jamal Murray over 28.5. PRA, points, rebounds, and assists at minus 120. That is courtesy of PropStarz. Blues Jets, first period under 1.5 at minus 125. And then we move to the SportsLine picks. Zubac over 11.5 rebounds at minus 133. That is courtesy of the Maestro. And the New York Mets money line minus 112 from JLC. And let's not forget the guy who's been hottest of them all, Ben, our producer. Clippers team total over 109.5 at minus 102. Jeff Stenberg says, give the people what they want. Where's Ben's pick? We've been talking about Ben's pick the whole time. That was Ben's pick. We already gave it out, Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great show. Anytime we have Sniper, PropStarz, Venom, and Mike McClure, it is always going to be a great show. Let's try to have a great Monday. Let's watch some baseball in, I don't know, about 45 minutes. Let's try to cash an early bet. Let's try to cash a late bet. Let's try to cash all the bets over here at the Early Edge. Me and Mike will see you at 7 o'clock tonight on the Early Wedge for the DFS show, where we do incorporate a lot of betting as well. So make sure you tune into that on the SportsLine YouTube channel. On behalf of these three and Ben on the 1s and 2s, 3s and 4s, and all of you, KC3, Carl Brutus, Get Dat Parlay, Amags is in the chat, Liddy, Nikesh is in the chat. Thank you for being in here. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for reviewing this podcast. We appreciate you every single day. Have a great Monday, folks. We rest our case.